Hi, I'm Lisa Johnson and I'm a business strategist helping you to make more money online. Today, what I wanted to talk to you about is how to grow an audience quickly. We all know that to be able to sell anything online, you need to have an audience, and not just an audience, an engaged audience that's ready to buy. When I see people launching online, the biggest mistake I see is that they don't have anyone to actually sell to. And that's because there are so many courses out there that tell you how to write a course, how to write ebooks, how to have memberships, but they don't actually tell you how to grow the audience first. And without an audience, you don't actually have anyone to sell anything to. So when I first started, I knew that I would need an audience quickly. I knew that was going to be the hardest thing to do. And once I had an audience, that I could sell over and over again. So how did I get that audience? I did a few things to make sure it was quicker than usual. Now, there is nothing that you're going to be able to do that will grow you an audience of 2,000 people like that. It is going to take time, but it's worth it because once you have it there, you're always going to be able to sell over and over again. So what are some really easy ways? There are hundreds of ways to grow an audience, but there were 5 that I used that did it quickly. Within 6 months, I'd made over £100,000 in profit. That happened because I grew the audience. I think I had 1,200 people within about a 4-month period. So this is how I did it. Let's start with the first way. The first way is the way that everybody tells you to do. And we often ignore this because it seems like the hardest way. But once you have it set up, it's easy. And that is to have a funnel, to actually have an automated funnel in a CRM system that brings in new people, new audience over and over again. The only thing that you really need for this is something free that people will want, that people want to put their email address in to get. Now, remember, when you're giving something for free, you need to make sure you are only getting in your ideal client for the thing that you eventually want to sell. So how do you do that? You make sure that the thing that you're giving for free, the title of it, speaks to your ideal client. So if it's for tired mums, put that in the title so that they identify with it and they sign up and you get the right people in your audience. Make sure it's something that people will actually want. There's a lot of free stuff out there. So it needs to be something really tangible that people will give their email address for, because not everybody wants to give their email address out. So it needs to be something compelling. Once you have that, you can use the same one. I used the same funnel for about 2 years and it brought audiences in every single day, constantly. It doesn't mean you have to use Facebook ads either. There are other ways, which I'll talk to you about in another episode, of where to put the URL so that you're bringing in people time and time again. So sales funnel, oldie but a goodie, it's still the best way of doing it. Let's look at the second way of bringing in an audience. Now, the second way that I did it was online summits. There is a good way to do this and a slightly bad, kind of shady way to do it. So when you have an online summit, what you basically do is you put on a day or 2 days training event that is free online and people sign up for it. So you're getting people all the time into your audience just by signing up for this training summit. Now, the way that people do this when they don't have their own audience is to get one person that is really known, that people will definitely A, want to speak on the summit alongside, but B, want to hear from and will definitely give their email address in order to do that. So first of all, you have to find the one person that you know people will do that with. Now, maybe they're your mentor, maybe you're friends with them, or maybe you pay them a little bit to be able to be on there. Once you get that one person, then when you ask other people, the second, third, or fourth person that you want on there, and you tell them who the first person is, they're more likely to want to speak because they've heard of that person, they know it's legitimate. The reason that you're getting people who are more well-known with big audiences is because they will then talk to their audience about the summit. Their audience will then sign up, but they're signing up through a link that you've put together. So whose email list are they going on? Yours. Suddenly you can go from having nobody on your list to 200,000 really quickly if you're using the right people. The problem with this, the bit that I don't like when it comes to doing this, is people do it kind of shadily. They ask people to be on their summit and then they force those people to sign a contract that says they have to send 2 emails to their list, 3 social media posts. That's too far, because if you're not very well known and you're asking people that are really busy and are very well known and normally probably charged to be on summits, you don't want them, if you're not paying them, to be forced to do things like that. So I never did that. I asked people that I had genuine relationships with if they would mind coming on the summit. I wouldn't force them to put anything out, and they often did anyway. They'd send out something on a social media post or to their list saying where they're going to be speaking next, which still led people to sign up. Yes, it meant I got a smaller piece of the pie. I got a smaller number of emails, but actually still hugely more than if I was to do it just myself. There was one summit that I did in the first year that got me well, I think it was just into the second year. It got me an extra 2,000 people on my email list, and I didn't force anybody to promote anything. People were doing it just through genuine relationships. So start building those genuine relationships. Start seeing who else is out there that you like and that you look up to, and start sharing their stuff. Start being really helpful, because then what will happen is when you need something, they're more likely to help you with it too. And that will really grow your audience quickly. Let's go on to number 3. It's an obvious one: social media. So in the first 6 months, I was prolific on social media. I was constantly everywhere, and you need to be obsessed with being on social media. You need to be there every day in some form. This doesn't mean that you have to be across all social media platforms. Go where your audience is. So when people were telling me to go on Clubhouse, to go on TikTok, my audiences weren't there. So there wasn't point in me going there. I knew that my audiences were on Facebook and Instagram. There were a few on LinkedIn, but I wanted to concentrate on just 2 platforms and do them really well. And so in the first 2 years, the only platforms I used were Facebook and Instagram, and especially Facebook. I had a Facebook group. I was on Facebook doing lives every other day, sometimes every day for a while. But the more you're seen, the more people are likely to then come in to your audience, especially if every time you do a live, at the end of it, you either tell people to come into your Facebook group or you give the link to your freebie. Because once you give that link, they're going to give you their email. They're then in your world, ready for you to talk to them every single week on your email list and nurture them so they get to know who you are. We all know that know, like, and trust factor is so important. Let's go on to number 4. So number 4, another great way to gain an audience really quickly is to speak in other people's groups and memberships. This is probably the way I used the most. I realized straight on that there were lots of people with audiences that already contained my ideal client. They may not do exactly the same thing as me, but my ideal clients were there. And so I wrote a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, on a subject that I knew was compelling for right then, which was at the time making passive income in that year and the different ways of doing it. I then went and pitched, and pitching is easy. Like, people often think there's some like divine way to pitch. There really isn't. You're just introducing yourself, what you can talk about, and asking if they would like you free of charge to go into their membership or mastermind or Facebook group and talk on the topic that you're best at to help their audience. Remember that most people want new people in to help their audience. I have a membership myself called You Can Sit With Us. And in that membership, we bring in somebody every single month to talk on their zone of genius topic. And that could be you. And there's loads and loads of other memberships and masterminds that need new people to be coming in to talk about their zone of genius. So they need people to pitch to them. Never feel bad for asking. You may get some no's, but that's okay too. So I was doing around 2 presentations to different memberships every single week. Every time I did, at the end of my presentation, I would offer my freebie. So I would get people onto my list and into my world, therefore sharing audiences with so many different people. It's a really good way to do it quicker than using Facebook ads, for example. I didn't use Facebook ads in any meaningful way until I was way past £1 million profit mark. And even now, we haven't used them for the last 15 months. I dabble with Facebook ads, but actually the ways that new people come into my audience, even now after 5 years, is by going and speaking on different people's stages, in different people's memberships, and in different people's groups. And you can use the same presentation, or maybe have 2, and just do which one feels right for you at that time, or which one the host of the membership or mastermind really feels that their audience would love. Number 5 way to grow your audience is PR. People are very scared to get PR at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey, and they needn't be. Everybody has a story. Let's be honest, talking about your business probably isn't going to get you the PR you want. Every now and again it will, if they can link it in. But generally it's going to be a personal story about you, about something you believe or about something you have done, or about something you can help other people with. That's going to be the thing that gets you the PR. So you need to be pitching those stories. So for instance, my stories are generally in the press about how I was bullied when I was younger and bullied online, and how now I'm an anti-bullying crusader with a brilliant charity called Bullies Out. That doesn't mean that people won't join my audience from it. They will look for you and find out everything else you do. But also, there's generally a way with PR that you can weave through what you do in your business. And you can always ask, can I put a link to my website or to my free Facebook group at the end of the article? And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a yes for doing that. Again, do not be scared to pitch for PR. The magazines, the newspapers, the television shows, they need to fill those slots. And it might be that you have just the perfect thing to talk about right now in their magazine. So make it easy on yourself. Make sure you read the magazine first or the newspaper so that you can suggest where you might fit in. But think of 3 or 4 different topics. You don't need to write them, just send it to them, saying, this is what I would love to talk to your readers about or to educate your readers on. And if they want you to write the article, you can write it afterwards when they come back and say, yes, we'd love to have this. So they are the 5 different ways to grow your audience quickly. 1, you're going to have a funnel, just like everybody else does, just like you've been told time and time again. 2, you're going to use summits. This might work for you. It might be something you don't want to do, but make sure that it feels aligned with you if you do a summit, because there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. 3, you're going to use social media. You need to be doing this to be visible anyway. 4, you're going to speak in other people's memberships so that you can share in their audiences. And 5, you're going to start pitching for PR. Do those 5 things. You'll have an audience in no time, and you'll be able to start selling the things that will really make an impact on people and make an impact to your bottom line. I hope that's helped. If it has, I would love you to subscribe to this channel so that I can help you even further. I'll see you again soon for more tips on how to make money online.